Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
I have someone to talk to you and to me about nutrition, about health, about fun. It's fun to eat, but it's fun to eat right. Now, every once in a while, you wonder what you should be eating, and you can't just ask anybody. You have to ask someone who's a licensed nutritionist, a dietitian, but somebody who really has a lot of practical sense. And that's why we're so happy that Nicole Andrews is going to talk to us today. The nice thing is we call her a functional nutrition therapist and lifestyle educator. That's a very good title, Nicole.
Thank you. Hi. Thanks for having me today.
Well, I think so much about you because your website is very important to me. I've used, as you know, for the cover of Boomer Times. I have used a lot of your menus, your pictures, and I just admire you so much.
Thank you so much. And I love seeing them in there and the recipes that you use. And it's a great joy to be able to offer that information because basically I offer on livingfresh.org, it's tips and recipes so that people can have a place to go to know that, okay, the recipes are healthy and the tips are sound advice. It's not something that, it's a fad. I won't post anything like that. It's really just what I talk to my clients about that I see and that I hear coming up again and again, and so then I'll think, this is a really good article idea. So if it's like something like dealing with sugar cravings or anything about inflammation, I'll think, oh, that's a really good article and I'll post that.
But you first have to write it.
I first have to write it. Right. I'll post it after I write it.
So my question is, when did you first decide that you wanted to get into this field, to be a nutritionist and you probably always liked to cook, but it's pretty serious work for you. You had to have a lot of schooling.
Right.
What drove you to this?
Well, it's an interesting question, Anita, because, I did like to cook growing up. My grandparents pretty much raised me and my mom was there, but my grandmother owned a restaurant in Pennsylvania, in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and her parents owned a restaurant. And so cooking was always part of my family heritage. And then my grandmother developed Parkinson's disease and my grandfather had to take over the cooking. And so she would tell him what to do and he would make all of the meals. And every Sunday we had a Sunday dinner and the whole family, 14 of us, came and sat down ever since, up until about 5 years ago when my grandfather passed. And, but he did all the cooking in the house and I wasn't really able to go into the kitchen to make what I wanted to. So one day I remember I found an article in a magazine about a sweet potato hash and it had black beans in it and it just looked so delicious and different to me.
Sounds good to me. Did you ever put that on?
No, but I will. But I remember that and I said to my mom one day, I said, I want to make this. And I don't know how old I was, but I was able to make it and it was just not my normal, we're Lithuanian. So we had a lot of like potatoes and noodles and that kind of cooking, but nothing like, the sweet potato and black bean. It was like such different flavors with cumin and different flavors. I was so excited about this dish and I ate it. I ate it all. I think I cooked it for myself more than anybody else. They didn't really. So when I got into nutrition and another thing about that, my first major was international business and marketing. And, I remember having a conversation with my aunt one day. We were walking on the beach and she said, you're going to be working a really long time. You might as well do what you like. And, I was really into Prevention Magazine and I loved health. And I said, you know what? I'm going into nutrition. I switched majors and, the rest is history. I was going to go to school to be a naturopathic physician. And I just switched my major to nutrition because I really wanted to focus on the preventative side of disease. And so And that's really where I've gone after school as a dietitian. You don't really get much functional medicine or preventative information. You get dietetic information, but it allows you to practice nutrition and counsel in a legal way. And also, so then after that, I was able to learn about functional medicine and learn about different tests. You can do like the vitamin testing, the intracellular nutrient testing, and the different food intolerance testing, and also nutrient supplementation and leaky gut and all these things that I didn't learn in school that, have really just got my interest in the past 8 years or so. And, I've been a dietitian for about 12 years now. But that's kind of like it in a nutshell. I'm sure I'm missing a couple things, but that's what steered my direction.
Nutshell, that's good.
No pun intended.
That's funny because there's a commercial now. It's on peanuts, and it's called Nutrition.
Oh.
We always say nutrition, and they say it's nutrition.
That's cute, yeah.
Because we know that nuts are good for us. But you see, that's the fallacy, that we hear things on television, on radio, maybe from people who really don't know what they're talking about, and they take a lot of good food and they say you shouldn't have it. I'll tell you a story that my mother was always a very natural cook. Now, they were Hungarian, my family. But she always was very natural. She had fresh soup. She had things like that. And when margarine came out, her sisters jumped to margarine. My mother said, no, it's not natural. It's butter. I don't want margarine.
Right.
And she never had any of the sweet and lows. She always had sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And she had the oatmeal. I remember all these things about my mother, and my mother lived to be 95. Her sister did live to be 94. But nevertheless, I remember my mother a lot about the way she cooked, and it was all very healthy.
Natural.
And she didn't have a lot of money. So she took a piece of meat and she made it into a lot of things.
Sure.
But we always had soup. We always had vegetables. We always had, important things. So
natural.
The reason I go back to that is because people have misconceptions about food.
Right.
I know you see that when you take care of your clients.
It's a big one. I mean, the fact that, just going back to the whole butter versus margarine, I mean, we did have it right years ago, and there was so much, that was different in the world. A lot of people grew their own food, and, there wasn't this large industrial production with the pesticides and the herbicides and how they grow the wheat nowadays that's creating so much sickness that we see now. But, the butter versus margarine, I mean, a lot of it is marketing because they put, plant sterols in margarines that it makes you think that this is a healthy product when in fact it's made up of mostly vegetable oils. And these are long chain fatty acids that can be oxidized readily. So it creates more of an issue. And really butter is better, but it's the type of butter that's used because if you think about it, butter comes from cows. And so grass-fed cows, their makeup is completely different. They're eating, instead of inflammatory corn and grain, they're eating grass and vegetables. It's just like if we were eating corn and grain, we'd be more inflamed. And then, if we were eating plants and nutrients, we'd have more of that anti-inflammatory effect. And so that's what therefore butter actually has those properties. Same thing with grass-fed meat. It's not a bad thing. It's a completely different makeup. It has less cholesterol, and it has more
no antibiotics.
No antibiotics or hormones, and it has a lot of the essential fatty acids as well, and certain nutrients that help with fat burning. So there's a lot of misconception out there with the foods nowadays, and it has a lot to do with marketing and how it can veer people in the wrong direction.
Now, I know that I love avocados, and of course, the first thing that when you're in a diet is you can't have an avocado, but that's wrong.
Right.
Because I've read you've made a lot of food with avocado, and it is so delicious.
It is.
And it is so filled with vitamins and the
healthy
right thing.
fats.
Exactly.
Right.
And I would tell you something else when you're talking about, I go out of my way to buy grass-fed, to buy organic, and even chicken. When you think about chicken, yes, you go and you buy the with no hormones, that they're grass-fed. Well, I have to tell you the difference in my eggs. 'Cause I only buy eggs from regular farms.
Oh, great.
And
That's
there
the best.
and my mother, but I think going back to my mother, my mother had an egg every day. She loved an egg with whole wheat toast. And I mean, and so I think about that and eggs. And you know how long they said you can have eggs? You can have 1 egg, 2 eggs a week.
They would put numbers on it in the past, and it's the same thing. It goes back to the makeup of the actual animal. You know, it's like, is this going to be a factory produced chicken that has a lot of stress in its body, that's given a very chemical laden diet, or is it a chicken that's happy, you know, that's running around? We get happy from eggs that are from happy chickens, you know.
That's funny. I told my husband before, if they haven't had those eggs available unless you went to a farm until recently. Whole Foods had it, but it wasn't. But now they're in Publix.
Right.
But I told my husband, and we live in an apartment now, I said, do you think I could sneak a couple of chickens here so I could have my own fresh eggs? Because
yes.
And you can see the difference. You can taste
you
the
can
difference.
taste the difference, and it's so true. And I know my association would never let me have a chicken, but I feel the same way. And I've had friends that have given me eggs the same. It's just that you can't even compare it. And a lot of people say, you know, but Nicole, the eggs are so expensive. I can't buy organic eggs for my whole family. And I say, you know what? It's better to buy the organic free-range eggs and have less of them than to just have more eggs of, you know, the conventional type eggs, because, you know, it's really about quality, not quantity, you know.
But if you went into their cabinet, their grocery cabinet, there's a lot of food they could save. Just don't buy that and save the money for the other good food.
Right. And there, you know, that's a big misconception, is because a lot of people think that it's expensive to eat healthy. Well, there's been studies that show that the unhealthy food, like whether it's, you know, the frozen meals or the canned foods or the packaged snacks and the chips and the sodas, that stuff is very much more expensive than if you were to go with some seasonal vegetables on sale, and even organic, and lentils, and, you know, you can make your own broth from the organic chicken. And like you said, that your mom did, we have to go back and see, made a couple meals out of like one thing, you know.
One thing was soup, one was stew, one was a roast. I mean, she was amazing. Of course, she did it, I think, at the time because we didn't have a lot of money, and my mother had to stretch a meal out. But I remember how she would do that.
Right. And that's something we can learn from, because, you know, for example, if we got our organic turkey, ground turkey, you know, maybe I'll make some turkey burgers, and then maybe I'll make some turkey meatballs, and then
I make turkey chili.
Turkey chili, and then you can also make like turkey taco meat, and, you know, and then you can use it you can do salad tacos, and then you can do a taco salad, and you can put them in. You know, there's so many different things you can do with, you know, with like, say, 2 pounds of ground turkey, and then you have variety too. You don't have, or you could just make all turkey meatballs, which I have a great recipe on my website for grain-free turkey meatballs.
I think I featured that. Oh yeah,
and
beautiful.
That is so delicious, because a lot of people put cheese and breadcrumbs. It's just the norm what to put in meatballs. But that one, you put in vegetables, you put in like zucchini, and you put in carrots, and you grind it up in a food processor, and you really don't know, it adds so much moisture to your meatballs that it's amazing. You'd be amazed at how good they taste. You know, you don't think they taste good, but when you try it, they're unbelievable.
Well, I buy, and I know that frozen vegetables are very good, because I've read about it, that they are picked at the right time, and you buy high quality, they're good. So I buy frozen vegetables, but broccoli. And the frozen broccoli I buy is the treat for my dog. My dog adores the broccoli, so I buy just the top parts. And I mean, and so you have to think about that, because here we worry about our dogs and what we're feeding them, but but they go for things that are really healthy. Carrots. Oh yeah, my dogs love carrots too, and you know, but it's so funny. He just eat the top, like my son. He just will eat the top off of the broccoli and leave the stem, but I'm just happy he's eating broccoli. Of course. No, of course.
You know?
So the other thing, though, you know, just talking to you, that you actually have a program that we might want to discuss. I know we did once before, about people detoxing themselves. Why don't you
Right.
talk about this whole field?
So there's a real issue in today's day and age with toxicity, and not a lot of people realize it, But if you think back to what's going on, like I said, with our world today, we have more pesticides and herbicides and more products with chemicals, and whether it's household cleaning products or facial products or you name it, there's chemicals all around us. And depending upon the type of work you do, there's chemicals in the workplace. And so what happens is a lot of the health problems that we're encountering could be related to symptoms of toxicity. And pretty soon, in the next couple days, I'm going to have a quiz on my website that you'll be able to take. How toxic are you? And you'll see all the different systems related to toxicity, and you'll be able to rate yourself, and it's a great thing to do because you get the awareness then that a lot of these symptoms are related to toxicity.
Well, give us an example.
So
if you're toxic and you don't know
so it
it.
goes through the systems. You can have like whether it's congestion, sinus congestion, whether it's excessive phlegm, hoarseness, or your GI system. Say, for example, you can have constipation or bloating or gas, or you can have low energy levels, foggy thinking and losing your train of thought and memory issues. And so every single system, whether it's your skin, do you have rashes or itchy ears or, it's like there's so many different systems that could be related. Achy joints. That's one of the biggest things that I hear people talk about after they've gone through the complete detox program is that their joints feel so much better. They don't have achy joints and their stomach is less bloated and they have more energy. Those are the three biggest things I hear. So the complete detox program, it's a gentle metabolic detoxification program. And the reason I say gentle is because there's a lot of things out there that they say they're detox programs, but they're really not, because whether you're not eating the right foods or you're just doing like a bowel cleanse, or a juice fast, these are things that are not detox. You might feel detox, but the detox happens in the liver pathways. And so this program, it gives you the information you need to prepare for the detox, because you don't just want to jump right into it or you won't feel very good. So the first week you prepare, and I give you all the information in the step-by-step. And then the second and third week, it's a 2-week detox, 14 days, where you're taking a few supplements and you're avoiding certain foods and you're still eating. You're not eating. And then the fourth week, it's all about reintroduction and identifying possible toxic food triggers. And then, we talk about moving forward and what to eat going forward. And so it's a great assisted program. I have a closed private Facebook group just for the complete detox program people that they can interact and share what they're eating and their symptoms or how they're feeling. And, so it's a great program. And I think that, I've seen it help a lot of different people. And one of the things about reintroducing foods is that, for the American diet, most people, they eat gluten and dairy and different things. And these are two things that are avoided on the program. But you may not notice any symptoms, like if you're eating them regularly. Then once you go into that reintroduction phase and say you have, a cheese quesadilla, which has gluten and dairy, and then you'll notice right away whether that affects you or not, more so than if you just were eating it and you thought, well, I don't think I feel bad, because you have a clean slate. And so you might notice whether it's a low energy, whether it's phlegm, excessive mucus production, whether it's bowel changes, because foods, when you identify toxic food triggers, it's not just physical, it's emotional and it's mental. So there's so many different ways that foods that don't agree with us can interact with us and can come about, and we can be aware of that. So
I want to let everyone know, Nicole's been so interesting. I always like to tell people who we're interviewing, but Nicole Andrews, who is a functional nutrition therapist and lifestyle educator. And actually, Nicole works over there at the adult geriatric. Well, it's AGI now, but it's where Dr. Mencia has founded this wonderful adult and geriatric health center over there in Fort Lauderdale. If you would like to set up an appointment with Nicole, this is the phone number to call. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. We always write down things so then you don't have to call me later. It's 954-446-7477. It's 954-446-7477. And her, as she was referring, it's livingfresh.org. And you have a lot of your recipes that you just have kept on there. So livingfresh.org. You will love the pictures. You will love to see Nicole. She's a very beautiful young woman, and she has two young children.
Yes.
Which, of course, you practice your nutrition on, I'm sure.
I do my best.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to add there's a free gift now on my website that people can sign up and download for free. And that's a free 3-day mini cleanse that I'm giving away. So I'd be happy to share that. It's the same website, livingfresh.org. So
do people talk to you, or they just do this on the web? How does this work?
The free gift? They just download it. You can go to the website and put your email address in, and it will be emailed to you. And it's a great prelude to the Complete Detox program, but it's a free gift, and it's people have gotten great benefit from that just as well. So I just thought I would put that up there as something to offer and let people know that, like, even just a small portion of doing something like the Complete Detox program can make a huge difference in just 3 days. And so it's a great prelude to that, but it's free, and you can download that. And one of the
confusing things, though, are there may be a nutritionist that said you can have milk, and another nutritionist says you should have soy. Another nutritionist said, no, you shouldn't have that. You should have coconut water or something like that. So how do you know if, for instance, I do drink milk? I don't drink as much now because I've read so much, but my mother always had her milk. And if you have skim milk, and of course you probably will tell us the difference in skim and regular. But these are so many questions I have to ask you, Nicole.
I'm laughing because I just made a video on milk, and I'll be coming out with a YouTube channel soon. I'll be posting all my amateur videos. But it's just information, like you said, that it's good, and these are 2 or 3 minute videos. So milk, it's funny because in my house, and this is what I did, I took out my milks for this video. I have the organic grass-fed milk, I have the coconut milk, and I have the almond milk, and then I have the unsweetened coconut milk. And so I have all these milks sitting out for the little video that you'll see soon. And basically, so if we start with cow's milk, 80% of the antibiotics used today are used on livestock. So the conventional milk we don't want to have. You want to do organic milk. The best kind of milk is raw milk. But we don't get that as readily here. One of my best friends just moved to Ireland, and she's just sent me a video of her kids taking the milk out of the cow's udder, like with their mouth, like squirting. It was so funny, but we don't get that here. We don't get the raw milk. And so the raw milk would be the best. But the organic grass-fed milk is, you could still get in the grocery store for
Thank you.
For dairy.
I'm going to go do that. I haven't done that. Isn't that interesting that why I'm so careful with other things? So thank you. That helped me.
Yeah, of course. Okay. And then, so that's something. And then almond milk, and you have to be careful. There's carrageenan in a lot of these stabilizers, but they've taken some out, so you could see carrageenan free. And then some of them have a lot of sugar, so you just have to see if you can do the unsweetened one. I put the unsweetened coconut milk in my smoothie. That's what I like. And then for lattes and things, I use the regular coconut milk. It has like 7 grams of sugar, but then I don't use sugar. If I may have put that little bit in. So there's all kinds of milks in my household, but there's certain things, like I said, you have to watch out for, which is like, the stabilizers or like the sugar, excessive sugar. But I have a great recipe too for easy almond milk on my site. That's really easy to make. It tastes like Christmas. It's so good.
It tastes like Christmas. And then let's talk just because I know we're probably going to run out of time about tea and coffee. There's so many pluses. Yes.
Okay.
Coffee's good. Oh, yes. It's not good. And then tea. Oh, yeah. You can have tea, decaffeinated, not decaffeinated.
So,
Oh, my.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the decaf. The things that are supposed to be caffeinated, whether it's coffee, black tea, or green tea, unless it's green tea, there's like some naturally made decaffeinated green teas, but the way that they have to decaffeinate coffee, it's not a healthy process. So if you have to do, and coffee versus tea, I mean, that's a great question, a good blog article. So I have to put that one away mentally. But, there's a lot of benefits that they say are in coffee that, and it's mostly due to the ellagic acid in it. And so diabetes, it lowers diabetes risk, it lowers cancer risk. And a lot of these studies are based on drinking a lot of coffee, a couple cups a day. Now, there is a genetic issue that we have to look out for that a lot of people do have that can't metabolize caffeine in coffee. Or just caffeine itself. So it's especially an issue for women and risk of heart disease. So we want to make sure that, there's really no way to tell unless you do the genetic testing for that. But
it brings for me on asthmatic conditions. If I have it that's decaffeinated, it's not much, if any.
Okay.
But on the other, it starts to make me
start to get sensitive to it.
So I really don't drink that.
That's great.
But tea doesn't give me that.
But tea has so much
I'm
less
fine.
caffeine than coffee, unless you do like a green matcha, which is like the powdered green.
That.
But the herbal teas are great. I mean, there's so many antioxidants in
the
tea.
The green tea is fabulous. I
That's
love green
wonderful.
tea.
And the white teas and the red teas. And, I love, one of my favorite stores is Teavana. I just love.
And they have white tea there?
They have all kinds, and they open these great bins and they let you smell it, and it's just like this big bouquet of flowers, and it's really nice. And so
I was once in Singapore, and there was a tea master.
Oh, I love that.
And he did the whole thing on this. I know whenever we talk, we never have any time, but I love having you
so
here,
fast.
and I can't wait to see your website and what you're doing with it. But just go to livingfresh.org. This has been Nicole Andrews, and Nicole, thank you as usual.
Thanks for having me.